wireless and wired, 5G, all that kind of stuff. Memory, the 3D stacking, all that kind of stuff. What's important is photonics. I mean, if you think about the body, it's the circulatory system. It pumps all the information around. Just like in your body, your blood vessels. That's what photonics does, okay? And it's always been kind of on the data center side of things, right? You think about they run fiber across the ocean. Now they're trying to use it in more places. Bottom line is light is cheaper than electric. That's what it is. It's faster, it's cheaper, it uses less power, all those types of things. So you have all these companies, Intel, Apple, NVIDIA, all these huge guys with these research departments trying to figure out how can we take photonics and put it into the system, right? And that's really what the key is. And this is what Lip-Bu cares about. It's across everywhere. Okay? Video, IoT, automotive, gaming, medical, robotics. I mean, automotive, you think about LiDAR at the photonics workshop we did 2 years ago, right? The medical side of things, all the different sensors that they're putting inside of things, right? These are the types of systems that we're talking about, and these are the systems that are exploding as far as growth, okay? So when you think about Virtuoso, we have all these things we've been working on, and people are like, well, how do they all fit together? We have system design that we've been working on. That's kind of the Virtuoso RF and VSDP. They've been around for a couple of years. To be honest, they were probably ahead of their time, okay? You talk about the system analysis group, and we talk about photonics. People want to know when they take a photonic chip and they put it next to an electrical chip, what's the thermal implications of putting the two things on the same package, the same board? That's the question that people are having issues with. The PCB, the advanced packaging, the complex layout. This is your Kirby core. These are core building blocks to put together these complex systems. And this is really where we differentiate from our competition. It's across all of these things, right? Think about Synopsys. What do they do for package and board? Yeah. Someday they'll work on it, I guess. You look at Mentor. Well, we're very strong on the IC side. We're very strong on the system analysis side, okay? So this is really how we differentiate. If you actually blow into photonics, huge growth. Gilles actually had some slides he sent out yesterday that show even probably more growth than this. Today it's being dominated by communications and data centers. It's really about pumping as much data up into the cloud, back and forth, across 5G, all that kind of stuff. What's interesting about photonics, it's a lot of different process technologies, right? And that's the key thing. Because what we're going to talk about on the next couple slides is that system design. It's about taking different types of technology and mixing them in the same system, okay? And that's really what we're focused on. If you look at the industry reports from like Yole, as far as the ecosystem, there's too many customers to count now. That being said, we have 6 paying customers that buy Virtuoso Photonics today. There's no doubt in my mind by the end of next year we could have 100. I think in the East Coast alone, I think we have like 16 customers we're tracking or something like that. It might be up to 20. People coming and asking us, hey, what's your solution? Okay, so real growth. So what does it mean? So if you think about Moore's Law, moving on the technology side, right? Beyond CMOS into FinFET, right? You think of the GPUs, the CPUs, the memories, everyone's chasing Moore's Law. How do I get smaller? How do I build a better circuit? Right? Less power, more bits, that kind of stuff. And then the other side, you have more than more. Sensors, biofluidics, all these things where you're not chasing the next process node, right? And this is where photonics falls in. And what's interesting is when you take these things and try and blend them with these things, and that's in the middle. That's the advanced packaging, what we call the heterogeneous system design. How do I take and build some photonic chip and put it next to a SerDes, and how do I put it in the same package and build a system that I can sell? That's what we are focused on. So when we talk about system design, that's the picture, okay? We do really well on this front, on the custom side for advanced node. We also do well on the digital side now too, through Mike Fang's team. I would say for the advanced node and the custom side, we're probably 99% of the market. Everyone uses Virtuoso, okay? Over here, we do well on these fronts too. The issue with those fronts is a lot of those people are building their own flows and their own processes, and we don't really know about it. They're using Virtuoso as a framework. And we have photonics customers that don't buy a photonics solution. They use Virtuoso to do photonics. Because it's skill. You can do whatever you want, right? What we're doing with photonics is we're taking something that people could build on their own, and we're starting to give them Kirby core infrastructure. We're starting to give them tools to put together flows. Okay? So, here's an example system. It's complex. It's meant to be complex. You've probably seen this slide before. This is what the customer's trying to do. What's interesting about it is all the different pieces of Cadence technology that plug together to make the flow work. VSDP, starting over here. Allegro, package board. Ties in Coventor for MEMS type applications. Into our analysis with Sigrity. Tying in Numerical for optical simulation. Tying into MathWorks, for the beamforming algorithm kit. This is the type of problem we have with customers at a very high level. I'm not in talking to some polygon pusher. I'm not in talking to some designer. I'm talking at high level. This is what you're trying to build. We have tools that address a lot of those different spaces and the problems they have. So let's break it down. Virtuoso multi-technology solution. You guys would know this is VRF. Okay? It never ceases to amaze me. And it was funny. I saw Olivier Touzé in the airport in Pittsburgh yesterday. He's coming in because they're meeting. Glenn's having a staff meeting. And he's like, I really think we need photonics and RF. We should sell them together. And I looked at Olivia and I was like, I've been saying that for 2 years. Who is doing photonics that's not high-speed analog in RF? They are all doing high-speed analog. That's the whole point of photonics, right? What does RF get you? Everyone thinks Virtuoso RF is RFIC. We're not doing RFIC. They've been doing RFIC and Virtuoso for 20 years. It's really about mixing different technologies. That's what RF gives you. It gives you module-based, the way to look at a system, be able to run analysis on the system, and able, inside Virtuoso, to run a simulation on different types of ICs in the same system. That's what Virtuoso RF is. I actually switched the name of the title to Virtuoso Multi-Technology Solution. And it really is about blending those different technologies together. That's really important for photonics. Okay? Because a lot of the photonics you're going to do, they're not going to build their photonics chip in silicon. They're going to build it in some other exotic process. And that's okay. Okay, so when we go out and talk to photonics customers, this is how we position it. And this is why that Virtuoso RF is one of the key components to the overall photonics flow, which you'll need that license.
No, the multi-tech.
The multi-tech license. You'll need the multi-tech license. Another key component is on the simulation side. It's really using Numerical for interconnect, which is on the optical side, and using Spectra on the electrical side. It's that co-simulation where we run both simulators in kind of serial type fashion to be able to simulate the entire system. Okay? You go out, so I was just at PIC International in Belgium, and I was with the Numerical guys. No doubt, they are the leader. You go there, and all the big customers come, and they've been great to us. All the big customers, hey, this is Cadence, this is who we're working with. This is simulation flow, use Spectre to do it. So really good on that front. This is on the simulation side. What we're going to talk about this week is Kirby core. It's not, I keep walking in front of him, kill him.
Got a sec, have a license question for you.
No, Rob, I don't got a sec. He's going to keep counting. Okay. So Kirby core, when you think of Kirby core, and Gilles and I have gone round and round on this, Kirby core, you think photonics, right? Kirby core, from a marketing standpoint, is a branding term. That's all it is. We have people working on RF, we have people working on package and board, we have people working on photonics. Our goal is to take a lot of the Kirby core stuff, the different APIs from different groups, and put it underneath that Kirby core umbrella. Okay? One of the things you'll see is P-Cell Designer. Gilles has reached out, we're working with those guys, they want to take advantage of it. One of the first P-Cell Designer requests for Kirby core was to do inductors. This is an API, this is building blocks, that if it makes my life easier to build these things, I can use them for all kinds of things in Virtuoso. It's a key competitive differentiator because it's super sticky. Once you start building, I don't care what you build, if you build P-cells using this stuff, it's going to be really hard to replace it. Okay, and it all comes from Gilles and those mathematical equations, and people love it, right? We talk to these PhDs who do photonic design, right? They don't want to spend all their time doing enablement. They could care less about the enablement. They want to create test chips and do testing. That's what they want to do. So when you look at the enablement piece of it, they're like, this is awful. I went to school for 10 years. I don't want to write P-cells, right? this is where this toolbox can really help them and get them focused on what they want to do, which is build and test. So when you look at Kirby Core, a lot of different things we can do. From the photonics side, it's all the data center, medical sensor applications, LiDAR. These are all the different things when you think about Kirby Core that people can use to leverage to build these types of systems and flows. Okay? So here's a couple examples. You guys have all seen this stuff, what you can do. All mathematical based, which we'll talk about. The next thing we always forget about is the analysis piece of it. Okay? And actually, Gilles did a roadmap, I think, 2 years ago where he had like the different pieces of the analysis, thermal, and all the different things in there. We can't forget this. When we go talk to customers, they want to know, how do I analyze the system? And if you look with the new analysis group, there's tons of work being done. Traditionally we used Sigrity, now we have Clarity, now we're moving to thermal, which I think comes out second half of this year. We will leverage this whole analysis story with the photonics application. And we look at photonics, it's these types of things, right? It's these advanced packages that we put together that apply to all these different systems. Okay? So, on to licensing. So if you look at photonics layout, it's pretty straightforward. You need these framework licenses, period. Okay, you need the 111, which you've needed for 20 years. You need the 95011, which is the advanced node framework option, and then you need the 95022, which is the multi-tech framework license. What's important is the 95011 comes with the 95550, so you don't have to pay for it. Once you buy photonics, you get that with it. Okay? You do have to buy the 95022, which is new in 18.1. So 111 comes for free. 95011 comes when you buy the photonics option. The only thing you really need to buy is the 95022.
And so let me explain, right? You can have photonic without Kirby Core. And Finera has done photonic in 12.3 without Kirby Core. So the Kirby Core part comes in 95022. So you can enable photonics without Kirby Core, but then you have to do all the math yourself. Or use Phoenix.
And we're not pushing those flows. So the customers we talk to, they want the 95022. Right. So the flows Gilles was talking about with Finera, I mean, they were one of our first partners 2 years ago before we had Kirby Core. Okay? But when you go talk to your customers, these are the 3 framework licenses you need. Okay? Does that make sense? And they always get wrapped around the cost. What's important is we always get the, hey, why do I need an advanced node framework license? You need it because that's how the software is, but you don't have to pay for it because it comes with the photonics option. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, question. So if they just want the front end simulation portion,
Next page. Okay. Now, this is where it changes. Mandatory is VSEXL and VLSEXL, period. Okay, we started that in advanced node a while ago where we got rid of L, the L tier from a licensing standpoint. In 18.1, we literally got rid of the L tier. Okay, when you think about a photonics-based flow where it's system design, the whole point is to build complex systems across different chips where you care about connectivity and you're going to want to run analysis, and that's where we're going. I'm not trying to do a polygon pushing photonics flow. Okay, so we're forcing EXL, we're forcing XL. If you don't want to use that, that's fine. That's okay. My feelings won't be hurt. You can go push polygons around in 6.1. I don't care. Okay, but the customers we're talking to, the Intels, the Nvidias, the Apples, they already own EXL. They already own all these things, right? And that's who we're focused on. We're building flows with the leaders. Okay, and you got to be real careful because you have these really small startup companies too, right? Who, they have VSE, they have VLSL, they've built their own flows from the ground up, and now you need to get them to move to these higher tiers. And I have a slide on that in 2 slides that I'll talk about. Okay, so we really have 2 different types of customers. The really high-end guys who already own everything, and then the really just kind of startup-based companies that don't own anything. Okay? Any questions before I move forward? Gilles?
I think I want to add that advanced node layout option, because everybody asks, is totally optional. It's written there, right? But you do not need advanced node layout option to run photonic, right?
But a lot of
you do need the advanced node framework, but you do not need. And so the expensive one is the 95512. These guys are expensive, right? You do not need that to run photonics.
So the advanced node framework, you get an advanced node framework with either one of these
as well.
You also get an advanced node framework with this, which says right there. Okay? So when you buy Virtuoso Photonics, the option, this product, Virtuoso Photonics option, you get that license with it. So you get 2 feature lines. Okay? So it doesn't really cost you anything more once you buy the photonics option. It's weird because we get 2 different sides of it. We get the what do I need to do to run the flow? I don't care how much it costs. And then we get the bookkeeping people who say, okay, how much does it cost? And you have this list of feature lines that are coming, and it's like, that's $1 billion. It's like, no, because 4 of these things just come when you buy the other stuff. This is really how much the seat costs. That's the confusing part about this. It's really not that confusing. It's very complicated.
And there is a slightly too slide. Will help you.
I see you all thinking. This is where we get all our questions. Come on, fire away. Ask questions.
I'll show you the other 2 and then we'll go with.
Before we leave the layout side, the other question I get all the time, what do you do for physical verification? Okay? There's 2 ways, there's 2 answers we traditionally give. Depending on the customer and knowing your customer, this is no different than an electronic flow. We have tons of customers that use Virtuoso, they use Calibre for physical verification. They've been doing it forever. This is the same flow. You know, you can use Virtuoso for all the electronic stuff, for the design part of it, the layout side of it, and you can always run Calibre at the end for verification. We also have PBS, where we've done some work with Tower Jazz and a couple other foundries to enable it. Mike, what's TSMC going to do for physical verification? Have they requested anything for us yet?
I think they'll probably use the Calibre.
Yep.
They have equation-based verification.
Yep. So TSMC more than likely is going to request people use Calibre, which is what I would expect. Okay. So when your customers ask you about it, don't shy away from it. This is no different than designing an IC, electric IC. It's no different whatsoever. Calibre is integrated exactly the same way. Okay.
Would it be better to have this set up instead of a pick and choose sort of thing to say, all right, if you want to do this, then here's what you want to buy and here's what comes with it?
So we have a slide.
Okay. Right.
So, but it's tricky because say you go in Intel. Intel already owns 40 different products and they're enabling 3,000 designers, right? When you go talk to those people, they know every product, every feature. They know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly what they want to add. There's an AX involved. And then you have this little company that has 3 guys, right? And it's like, I don't own any of these products. I used to use freeware. And it's like, well, here's the 17 products you need to run photonics. And I'm like, really? So, and that's the dynamic. Because if I create, that's slide 3. I'm stealing my thunder. But slide 3 is...
My thunder.
Yeah. We have a new product that is 1 feature line that enables the entire flow. And it's a startup product, right? Hey, I got 3 guys. You buy these 3 things. You can do schematic capture. You can do design entry. You can do layout. The only thing that's not included is the simulation piece of it. But it's a 1 feature line. And everyone keeps saying, well, what's in the feature? Anything you need to do photonics is what's in the feature. That being said, you go talk to, like, the Apple AX. He doesn't want a single product that does everything. Because he's selling 50 products that do a bunch of different things, right? It's better to have more flexibility depending on which end of the spectrum you're on. Does that make sense? So
when you talk about physical verification, you're talking about both DRC and LVS, or?
yes.
Yes, push the LDS onto Mentor.
Okay.
Speaking for
honestly, actually, the LVS flow both in Mentor and PBS will be a black box flow. There are no tools today that are capable of truly extracting the photonic parameter, efficiently.